Right. So I think that's great. And, Christopher, it would be really interesting maybe if you listened to an episode. We talked about finding your element and how you were going to express yourself. And it sounds like you show people how to express themselves through movement. And I want to acknowledge that. I think it's really wonderful. Is it okay if I share some of the indicators of success that I've used for myself and with some of my clients, and I found work for some of my friends
Please go ahead.
that are really transcending
Yes,
some of
please.
their levels of reality and circumstances?
Sure, sure. Yes,
Okay,
that will be
super.
nice.
So, and thank you. I will accept your invitation, and I would love to drop in sometime and hear what you have going on, because I think there's so many different ways to get to the same destination here, and I love learning from others. I'm very open minded,
Wonderful.
and thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, first of all, I think one of the really important things when you're measuring these indicators of success is something like what Christopher said. It's really important that you take a look at whether your goals are aiming up, which would be things like for the greater good, for society. Is this making me feel better? Is this giving me fulfillment and happiness? Or are my goals aiming down? Like, and this is the time you have to get really honest with yourself, because sometimes these are times when we're looking at some things that maybe we're not so proud of. Am I coming from a place of resentment? Is this something that I want to achieve because I want to get even with someone? Am I angry about something, and so I feel like I have to settle a score? Like, is there some kind of negative energy that I feel like I need to prove myself? And maybe that kind of anger and discontent is a good jump off point, because it really stirs up some action, and taking some action in a direction of, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I'm drawing a line. Stop putting energy into this negative thing and settling this score. I really need to move on and focus on myself and how I can make things better. So, I think that's an important place to look for evaluation. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. I am truly in this for the greater good and trying to make circumstances better for myself and others around me. So I think that is one indicator that you can take a look at for success and whether you are winning or not. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add to that before I move to the next one?
Miss, I would like to say something if you allow.
Yes, please. Thank you for being here.
I am so lucky enough, fortunate enough to join a native tutor person here, like native.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, can you ask this one question again, like particularly, so I can answer to the point?
Oh, the question was, I was asking, do you have something you'd like to add around the idea, something you'd like to share? I was suggesting that if you're looking at indicators for success, is that you take a self evaluation of where your motivation is coming from for this deed or goal that you're chasing after. Are you chasing after it because you have some positive energy and some kind of circumstances that you want to make something better? Or
Okay.
are you pursuing a goal because you have some resentment or negativity, or maybe you're feeling disenfranchised and you're trying to get even with some circumstances or someone, and that's why you're pursuing a goal?
I got you. Now I need to answer. You know, according to me, if I do talk about this thing, you know, sometime this is somehow really different point. Like you can say contradictory, but it helped me a lot. Keep doubting yourself, like keep doubting, and at same time, challenge yourself. Yeah, like challenge yourself, keep doubting, and to do work every single day. Like sometime I had read a one story. It's about, you can say, Emma Watson or something like that. Some of them like great movie stars or like great personalities, like celebrities. There is a one point come in life, you are really successful, but sometime there is a one negativity come. Like you do think like that, I don't deserve this thing. Like I am not good enough. I am not good enough. So once upon a time, this thing same happened with me. Like somehow, like this article when I read, thrown me away completely. But after that, I try to challenge myself always. I have been continuously working on my like speech, like a way of speaking around 3 years. It's going to be 3 years. So sometime, I do doubt myself, and yeah, and in this way, I'm every single day I'm doubting. I do try to go to that type of places where I need to speak in real life. Like I have to interact with some person, even in my college life, with my so this thing, challenging myself, like doubting on myself, like is I'm good enough or not, and I give myself challenge, and yeah, that challenge proves to me automatically I'm good or not, and in this way I'm doing self evaluation, and I'm doing getting better day by day. Yeah, this thing.
Fantastic. Yes, right. So I think you've put it in a fantastic context for yourself there in creating belief for yourself, because when you feel like you're not good enough, or you feel like you're uncomfortable in some way, you use that as an opportunity to learn and investigate. And what else do I need to learn? What more do I need to practice? And that was one of the other points I was going to make today about, this cultivating belief in yourself. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I'm going to stop here, I wasn't born for this, I don't have the talent. Instead of staying stuck in that mindset, to take a look at the circumstances in the situation. And when you feel that way, ask yourself, what more do I need to learn? Where do I need to grow? What else do I need to develop here? Instead of doubting yourself and giving up, or becoming demoralized or depressed, looking at it in a way of what more do I need to learn? So that was a great share. Thank you so much. And if learning to speak English was one of your goals, you're doing fantastically, and that was great communication. I feel like you were well spoken, and I understood what you were sharing. So thank you.
There is a one idiom. I would like to encapsulate all my words in one idiom so it can speak volume in itself. So idiom is that I am always trying to go out on a limb. I am always trying to go out on a limb. Like I always try to put myself in uncomfortable zone. Yeah, to learn something, to make mistakes a lot of, and to learn from them.
Super. That's great. I love it. And to know whether you are uncomfortable or whether you are suffering, I think too is a great distinction, because maybe this is going to be speaking to a different culture, but here in the United States, a lot of people are not comfortable with making themselves feel uncomfortable. And there's so much coddling and so many opportunities and so much privilege that sometimes they stay stuck in situations where they could achieve far more, and they lose their drive because they've become so comfortable that they are not comfortable with going out on a limb, because they're not willing to take the risk, because they're so used to the comfort that even a little discomfort is so unsettling that they're unwilling to go out on a limb. So kudos to you for still being in a situation that you're strong enough to challenge yourself and to go out on the limb, because that's where you're going to grow. The trauma reveals talent, and that was a message that I always got from one of my great mentors when I was horseback riding professionally. He would always say, your talent is revealed when you go through trauma. And he wasn't suggesting that we put ourselves in abusive relationships or anything like that. It was more like you have to go through a little pain and a little discomfort, and you have to stretch things, and sometimes your body's going to hurt and your mind is going to feel like it's going to break. But you don't know how talented you are until you press those boundaries. So, yeah, thank you so much. And then to know that when you're suffering, there is some merit in that too, because when you're suffering, those are when you really have to draw some lines in the sand and you really have to take a stand on things. And maybe that is when you get to that breaking point that you've hit your rock bottom. And you know now that you can start building a great foundation on top of that because you've gotten to the bottom of things. You feel like there's no point further down you could go. Maybe you feel like you're living in what some might consider in a spiritual way a living hell. And there is nothing more that you feel like you can take, and you're ready to finally fight for yourself, and you're ready to move forward in a way that maybe if you're talking about it like an animal, you've been backed into a corner and now it's time to fight your way out because you have been put in such a circumstance of pressure that you feel like I either have to fight for myself or I'm going to just die here because I've completely given up. So, that's the other way of creating that belief in yourself. You've gotten to that point. You know that you're winning because you've lit a fire inside your soul that you're no longer willing to allow things to stay the way they are. And you're going to do whatever it takes, even if it seems radical, to get yourself out of the circumstances that you're in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, miss. You nailed it completely. I'm speechless. Because, I can say this thing like, never ever try to compare yourself. Yeah, and that's the best thing. And I have given myself one more challenge. As being a fan of WWE, some of them are really good orator in WWE. So that makes like I have promised myself I will be same as like them, like as like native speaker, like good fluency, like good way of language use, like etiquettes as like WWE superstar. So in this way, I'm working. I have given one more challenge to do workout, to work my ass off, grind myself every single day in ground every single day.
Nice. Well, just make sure you're tracking your progress so that you can make sure that you can acknowledge yourself and celebrate all your wins and how far you're coming ahead with things. So I'm gonna just take these last 2 minutes, if it's okay with everyone, to just kind of wrap up what we've talked about, because I think the overall arching message that I want to get out here is I feel like your indicators of success can come when you know deep down inside that you're starting to focus on things that are important to you. And another way that you can know that you're winning is not just that you're hitting these arbitrary goals, because really when you start out with a goal, you're not the same person that you were when you get closer and closer to the goal. Because every time you move forward and take actions towards getting something that you want or some way you want your life to change, every time you make a step forward, you become a new person. And from the moment that you wrote down this thing that you wanted to achieve, you might change your mind, you might change your soul, you might change your spirit, and something else could become important to you, and that is okay. But as long as every day you're working towards the things that you want and you're facing new problems every time your circle of commitment turns around, you know that you're growing and evolving and you're becoming a new and better person every time that circle of action moves around. So I'm going to thank everyone again for being here. Thank you, those of you that were in the audience typing and chatting. I didn't get to see all of them. Guljeet, I see you here. Thank you. Please, if you join again next week, I would love for you to be speakers. It's wonderful to hear everybody's voices and where you're from. And even if you're feeling insecure, like maybe there's some kind of language barrier, don't worry about it. We can get through it together. And it's just wonderful to have everybody here and joining in the conversation. Christopher, thank you. I love to hear that you're teaching people how to be better selves through their movement. That's wonderful. That's not a gift I have, so I really appreciate seeing it in others. Guljeet, Kanal, thank you for being here.